Hey guys, what's up? Today is June 25th, which means iOS 14 Beta 1 has been out for a few days now, and I installed it on my iPhone 11 Pro Max, my daily driver, on day 1, and have been using it since then. So today I just wanted to share with you guys my first impressions and the top features that I came across with this beta. So let's get straight into it. So the main and the most talked about feature of iOS 14 would be the redesigned home screen, sort of redesigned. In particular, these home widgets that you can actually see on my screen. I have two here and one here. So what we had for years was just apps being arranged in vertical columns and horizontal rows, and we couldn't really do anything with them except just rearranging their order and moving them from one screen to another. Well, now we have an access to what's called widgets. This feature has been rumored for a long time now by Apple, and nobody really knew if they were actually going to add it to their new OS, but they did it. And basically the way we add widgets to the home screen is we have to tap and hold anywhere on it, like this. Then a little plus icon pops up in the top left corner. We hit that, then we can see this menu. It goes top to bottom, that shows us all the widgets that are available to be added to the home screen. They all come in different sizes. I'll touch on this in a minute. But they're all stock applications for now, because obviously it's only beta and it's only been a few days that it's been out. But over time, I'm sure a lot of developers will give their support in their apps to widgets and make our life much easier. So let me show you guys a quick demo of how it looks like. Let's for example pick maps. So we hit that. Let me focus. And then there's 3 versions. Some apps have only 2 versions in size. The little one, for some reason it doesn't show up the actual map, but you get the idea. Oh yeah, here we go. So it's a little square, and then the rectangle, and the big square. They all come in different sizes and show more or less information if you want. And let's say we want this, and then we hit add widget, and then it pops up in the top of the screen like that. And we can move it around like a regular app. And as you can see, it goes out top to bottom, but you can't move it all the way down. It will come back to, close to the lowest application that's been located right now, as of now. So we can only move it up or down like this. Let's try to add another one of a different size, for example some photo. We can actually tap and hold like this, and we can move it anywhere that it actually fits, so like this or like that. I'm gonna choose this way. So we have maps on the top, photos here, and the rest of the apps are arranged in, I don't want to call it perfect, but it looks to me like a perfect order. So we have empty space down here, apps here, and 2 widgets up in the top here. What we could also do is pick another widget of the same size. Let's pick notes, tap and hold, and if you hover on top of another widget of the same size, they collide. So now you hit done, you can scroll up and down and switch between them, which is really neat. So you can actually have 2 widgets at the same spot, so it takes up less space, but you have more information. Yeah. There's also something else that's called Smart Stacks, which is basically a widget that has multiple apps inside of it that you can actually scroll top and bottom like this, and it shows you little dots of how many apps you have. But what's cool about it is that it uses the neural engine and the Siri built into your phone to predict which app you're most likely to use at certain times of the day or the night. So let's say for example you wake up and you're usually checking your calendar, and calendar will pop up in here. And during the day, let's say you're listening to music, and then music will show up in here. And let's say at night you're working out, and your activity will show up in here. So that's really cool. I'm really excited to check it out if it's actually gonna work, and I'm sure it will. And you can also manage which apps are inside of this stack. the way you do it is you tap and hold on the stack, and then you click Edit Stack. Then you can see the list of the apps that are being used in this stack that will be suggested to you throughout the day. And what's cool about it, you can move them around like this. Just gonna leave it the way it is. And then there is a toggle for Smart Rotate, which is basically what it says. It rotates in a smart way and predicts which app you're most likely to use at the day or the night. This feature is really cool for people like me who have a lot of apps on their phone that we once downloaded it, maybe used it once or twice in our life, and then we just forgot about it. But it's there. They don't take up much storage on the phone, but they're just there. Well, now Apple fixed that issue. It wasn't really an issue for me, but anyways, here it is. If we go to the edit or jiggle mode like this, and then tap on this button with the dots in here, we can actually see which home screens we have and how many of them. In my case, it's a lot of them. And what's cool about it, we can actually pick which ones we want to see and which ones we don't want to see by selecting or unselecting the ones that we like and the ones that we don't like. And in my case, I only have the first 3 available. I can choose this one or not. I choose not to. So I only have 3 of them selected, so I hit done. And now, boom, I only have done. Then now I have 1, 2, and 3. And then all the other apps are hidden in what's called an app library. It says right there. Basically what it does, it groups all the apps in kind of like folders, like categories. For example, in suggestions, as the name implies, it's the apps that are being suggested that I'm most likely to use, you know, in the next few minutes. Maybe the weather, probably not going to use WhatsApp, but anyhow, that's the apps, suggested apps. Recently added the ones that I downloaded, social, productivity, and all the other categories. I don't necessarily agree with how they're being categorized, but that's the first beta. That's what's to be expected. So that's the app library. You can actually search in here if you tap in here. They're all in alphabetic order. You can scroll through down like this, or scroll fast if you don't want to just go to a certain letter like that. And it all, what's the word? It'll, there's like a haptic feedback to every move that you do. I wish I could tell you how I feel, but this is amazing actually when you just do it like this. And you can just search for anything. Let's say YouTube, you just type in and it's right here. And let's say I want to add one app, a certain app, to already existing home screens that I have. Let's say I want to add, I don't know, Netflix, which I have, but I don't use it. So I go into app library, search for Netflix, and then I believe I can tap, no, can I? Tap and hold? I thought I could. I think you just have to go to Netflix. Where is it? Let's just pick any random app. Let's say, I don't know, this Google Translator. I can just tap, drag and hold, and then move it anywhere I want here. And then hit done, and I'm done. And let's say I want to bring it back to the app library. I don't want to see it anymore. I just tap and hold, and then edit home screen, and then move it back here. And I think that's how it works. Yes, and now it's gone. So that's basically the app library and how iOS 14 home screen looks like. Oh yeah, here's another thing. If we swipe over to the right, there used to be here a widgets page. Well, it didn't go anywhere. It's just been redesigned, and I think it looks better now and much more clean, with the widgets being kind of more bubbly, more distinct and easy to read. Let's see, here's screen time and maps, calendar, and also if I wanted to, I could actually tap and hold any of the widgets and move them all the way here, hit done, So they're not limited to this widget page. Widgets can be placed anywhere on any home screen that you want, and that's really cool. Another long overdue feature that should have been on an iPhone, but it for some reason hasn't been, is picture-in-picture, which basically allows you to play the video outside of the application while working on anything else that you want. Let me show you what I mean. Here I have the video in YouTube. Let's say I want to play it. I go into this mode, then I can click on this button right here. Let me just lower the volume down, and you can move it down anywhere anywhere I want, up here or down here. And then I actually can close the Safari and do anything else I want, and it's kind of like floating in here. You can move it anywhere. Let me stop the video. You can stop it like that, go 15 seconds back or forth. Yeah, you can move it in any corner, or you can even swipe it over and then just do whatever you want. And yes, you can play it in the background, oops, like this, and as you can hear it, it's playing, but I don't see it. And you can swipe it back here and stop it, and then go back to the player mode, and you're back to the video. You can watch it. Well, let me just turn this on, and you can watch it as you would normally. What sucks about it is that YouTube app, YouTube app doesn't allow it even if you do have paid subscription. That sucks. Picture-in-picture feature works well with FaceTime too. So let's say you're video calling via FaceTime with someone and you want to look up a word or do something else while you're in the call. Remember how your video got paused while you're exiting the application of FaceTime? Well, now that's been fixed, and you don't have to be inside of the FaceTime app. You can be doing anything you want and people will still be able to see you. That's amazing. I love that. Another change that came with iOS 14 Beta 1 is within the control center. If we swipe down, we have now controls of HomeKit enabled devices. So in my case, I have this one light right here. I can control it from control center. I don't have to go inside of the Home app. I can turn it off, turn it on. As you can see, it's working right there in the background. This next feature is a big one, and definitely one of my favorites, if not the most favorite, even compared to widgets, that I really love. But this one is really huge. It's the phone call UI. I don't know why Apple hasn't done this years ago, but you know when somebody calls you and it takes up your whole entire space, I mean the screen, and you can't literally can't do anything else, but you have to either pick up the phone or hang up, and that sucked. Another small change that came with iOS 14 is about privacy. Now, Apple talks a lot about privacy. They care about their customers, and every year during their keynotes they touch on this a lot, and this year is no different. So if you use any app that requires the camera unit, let's say we're just going to open up the camera app, close it, and then when you go to Control Center, it actually tells you which app has used the camera recently, and in this case it's camera. If I use Snapchat, it will say Snapchat. Anything, any app that requires camera is going to say on top. So that's nice. Another really cool feature that I liked is you can set any command to a double or a triple tap to your back of your phone, and there's a lot of options. So in my case, I set lock into screen to a double tap and accessing the control center to a triple tap. So let's see how it works. I double tap the back of the phone and it locks. Now there's a slight delay, maybe like a second, maybe more than a half of a second, less than a full second, I don't know. But there's a slight delay, but it works, and that's really cool. Now let me unlock it. And let's try the triple tap. 1, 2, 3. And it didn't work. 1, 2, 3. And there's control center. It's not like instant, but it works, and I think there's a potential to this. Another great change is in Siri UI. Now, just like in the phone call UI, your phone call doesn't take up your entire screen anymore. Well, Siri is now less obtrusive as well, and very small in the bottom. Let me show you how it looks. So when you invoke Siri the same way as you always used to, by holding down the power button, it's very small and beautiful, like pulsive right here in the bottom. You can swipe up to cancel. And let me show you, if you want to like check the weather or something, there's a beautiful animation and it doesn't take up entire screen. What's the weather outside?
It's currently cloudy and 22 degrees.
As you can see, it doesn't take up the entire screen, and that's really cool. I love it. Another interesting change that Apple added in iOS 14 is about versatility and letting us change the default apps for certain needs. Let's say you don't like Safari, you prefer Google Chrome or any other browser app. Well, now you can change that. As well as for mail, if you don't like the stock mail application, you can choose Gmail to open up by default. I don't know if I'm gonna need that. Honestly, I like Safari the way it is. Some people hate it. I don't know why. With Mail app, maybe I will change it to Gmail. Sometimes it's bugging out, and yeah, it's annoying, but overall, not a big deal. Another great feature in iOS 14 is the built-in translator. So finally, we don't have to use the Google Translator anymore. And the design, as you can see, is pretty simple, which I love about it. And there's, I think, like 12 languages available for now. And there's the list. Pretty cool. Speaking of a translator, now Safari has a built-in translator. If we click on the top left in here, and there's a button for translate website, and we could pick the language that we want. Let's say I have Russian in here because it's all in English. Enable. And it works pretty well. Translates pretty much everything as it all loads up. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And as far as performance goes, everything has been working great so far. Animations are smooth. I haven't experienced any lags, restarts or resprings, nothing like that. The only issue that I've encountered was when typing, the letters wouldn't pop up right away and it would take them a few seconds to show up. Also, there was one time when I was watching a YouTube video and the phone started to overheat quite a bit. Then I stopped watching and everything came back to normal, so that was okay. Another bug that I found is inside of the control center. If you want to close it out, normally you would just swipe it up, but it doesn't work here, as you can see. I actually have to swipe all the way from the bottom. That's not a big deal, but that's the bug. So these are the top iOS 14 features that I've been using so far. If I find anything else new, I'll definitely make a video about it. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks for watching. Peace out.